What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to an early morning of the Cars and Coffee in the morning. So, I want to tell everyone that we have finally decided what type of Camaro that we want to get. I've actually been recently looking at the 2015s, and I've noticed that the prices actually aren't that bad. I went to a dealer the other day and found one that was a 2015 with a Corvette motor inside of it. $28,000. Which ain't bad. It was an SS. Didn't have many miles on it. So it was a pretty good, purchase idea. However, right now, that's not what we're going to be talking about. And that's not what we're going to be generally aiming for. However, to show everyone what that looks like that doesn't know Camaros that well. Come on, load up here. So this is it here. This is the 2015s. This is the style they are. It's the cross between the 5th gen to the 6th gen. They're not too bad looking. I mean, obviously they're a little bit, funky. I was never always a big fan of them. I didn't care so much for the way like the rear looked. I think the taillights are still a little bit funky on them, but overall the car's not bad. Especially with the price point. I mean, this right here is the 5th gen, and that was awesome how that was set up. But it's really not too bad. They're kind of undesirable, so the price point for them is not bad. Whatever. At this point, I would kind of take what I can get as far as it goes with having another Camaro. But anyway, let's get on to today's actual main event. So, granted, a Camaro has to come first, when it comes to purchasing another vehicle. However, I have plans and intentions for a third. Now, this is going to be totally different and insane and a little bit out of my mind to even, plot of doing this. However, it's actually very possible. So, if we take a look, I have actually decided that I want to aim for getting a Bugatti, not just any Bugatti, a Chiron. Now, anybody that knows anything about cars or even a Bugatti in general, they are a $2 to $3 million car. So that's kind of where everything gets a little bit twisted, and everybody can be like, what in the fuck are you thinking? What do you possibly have in your head where you would get one? Well, this is where I kind of want to get everybody's opinion. And I want to see, exactly what direction this goes, because I think this is going to work out very well, at least for what I want to do anyway. So let's pull up the screen now. All right. So call me crazy, but this site, which I've known about for years, and I've actually made a video like a year ago saying how, there was a potential option where I knew how to get my hands on a Lamborghini or a Bugatti. Well, this is it. I'm going to just out it right here. This is it. These are replicas, okay? These cars are made to be the perfect replication, basically, of the image of the car. Now, obviously, the power is not going to be there. They are not going to be race cars. They are not going to be track cars, drag cars, anything like that. These cars are simply a show car. They are, if you don't have deep pockets to be able to afford, the high-end price tag that's on one of them, this is your option to getting one. The lowest price that you can get one for is 20 grand. You make payments on it, and they start building it. I just finally got the comments back up after my phone call interruption. But yeah, Greg, I know the 5th gen refreshes, you know, they're kind of crappy, but you know, as far as the Camaro goes, the price points are there for them. You know, you can get one for like 9,000, so it's really not too bad. So anyway, you can get one for 20 grand right here. Okay. You know, the inside looks like this. It looks just like the inside of a Bugatti. The outside looks exactly identical, and then they go up in price. So for 20 grand, you're talking, you know, it's got a Toyota Camry V6 in it, you know, which that thing, my friggin' Mustang is going to be faster than that. However, you know, when you're driving a Bugatti on the road, which is what the intention would be for, you're not going to be, you know, flying up and down the street because, first off, you're going to have everybody's attention, which is including police attention. And you really don't want to go over the speed limit with that. So to have the V6 in it, if you're not going to race anyway, isn't going to be a big deal. Now, as far as volume of the car, they do modify it so that way the car does project the same amount of sound that you would get from the V or W16 or whatever this thing is. It's an, I forget what it is. It's something funky, but it's something with a 16 cylinder car. So, you know, the motor's in the trunk, basically, essentially, you know, the hood's in the back. But they still have the cover over it. So that way it appears to still be that motor. So you won't actually know by the appearance that it would be a V6. Oh, yeah. So Greg had mentioned that, you know, in the muscle car world, you get your balls busted really, really bad if you have a V6 muscle car. So he's saying that having a V6 exotic would be, you know, a total ball buster. Now, it would. Now, am I going to be that person that if I got it, am I going to be like, hey, this is a real Bugatti? No, I really wouldn't. The thing is, this would be more for fun. And this would be more of a, like, hey, you know, we can make some cool videos with this, and we don't have to worry about if it gets scratched up or anything. Like, that's the biggest problem. People buy cars like these, and they don't drive them. You know, you can't drive them because God freaking forbid, you know, really, God forbid anything happens to it. You know, you're out so much money. Like, what is it? I think one tire for the Chiron GT is like $40,000 just to replace like one tire. So, I mean, when you can get the replica and still be able to do the things that you want to do to enjoy it, I don't see why not. And I guarantee you a lot of people that do actually own the real car, I can guarantee you a lot of these people have these replica cars that they take out and drive. So that way nothing does happen to their actual car. Guarantee you it happens because a website like this and a company like this that's been around for years, and you can go into their specs and you can see where they're located. You can see, you know, everything about them. You know, they're not going to, you know, like they obviously have business from somewhere. Like people are clearly buying these cars, you know, so they're out there. This company's making money. They're still on their feet. So, you know, that in your travels of seeing these exotic cars, they're there. Now, like I said, you do have the option where you can get, you know, up to like a BMW V12 engine on them. So they'll still be pretty fast. But think. Now, stop and pump brakes and think for a second. If you are a small YouTuber like myself and you pull up somewhere with a car like that, regardless, you are going to get views. You are going to get people, you know, clicking on it. And Greg lived by a method before, and Greg, you know, you said this before, that sometimes negative attention is still attention. Well, okay, if people are going to ball bust over the fact that it's a replica car, let them. I really wouldn't care. There are other YouTube channels you can look up that have replica cars, and it's a known, like, you can just type in replica car, and people are reviewing the actual replicas, and their view count is off the charts. You know, so there is, you know, the potential for them. Now, imagine the videos that I do. I'm now doing this car horror stuff. Okay, being able to take a Bugatti and something like that is something you would never see a real Bugatti in, which you would never see a Bugatti do, period. And you would never expect a car like that to be in something like that. The 8 GoPros all over the car and daily driving it is, again, something you would never see happen. You will never see people driving around with one of these cars with all the cameras on it, actually taking driving footage. Now imagine being able to drive down the road, doing the footage that I do with the Mustang and that I did with both Camaros, but having an exotic car. That would be insane, and people would eat that up. Okay, so we got another comment here, so let me just read this one real quick. Well, yeah, all right. So Greg had mentioned that if I spent $20,000 on advertising the channel versus $20,000 on the car, it would do a lot more for me. Maybe, maybe not. If I spent 20 grand, it would be out the door, instantly done. You know, and the Bugatti would be a, you know, when anybody makes a car purchase, it's intended to be like a lifetime investment. So having the car and being able to go to Cars and Coffee. Now you're saying, if I pull up to Cars and Coffee with that thing, they're going to throw it in the exotic spot. You know, if they didn't, they'd be stupid, because even the replica, which probably a lot of people wouldn't know off the bat is a replica, the moment that car would be over in like the regular lot, I would steal the attention from every fucking car there. Replica again or not, people are still going to want to go look at it. They're still going to want to take pictures of it. They're still going to want to take video of it. You're talking Mustang, Camaro, whatever I've owned and had previously, whatever people looked at before, whatever those cars did that brought them over to this channel, a replica Bugatti would do 10 times more. You know, you got to figure, I drive around all the time. I have the cameras on the car. I have my decal on the back. And how much traction does that really bring the channel? Like, I still have, you know, I'm at like 392 subscribers. You know, I don't know why, but I've noticed with YouTube, when you're trying to get to that every 100th, it's like a pain in the ass, and it never wants to cycle over to the next round. Well, I would put the cameras all over the car. That would be my idea. I would definitely do that, because again, it's something that you don't see, you know, and it's something that would be different content that nobody would have. So anyway, let's head back over to the website for the Bugatti. Okay. So as you can see here, you know, we'll go down to the specs. So they have different packages. They go up and down. So your first package is the Toyota Camry V6. So you got 20 grand right there. For 23, you can do the Mustang 5.0 motor. For 29, you can do the Audi V8. So for $10,000 more dollars, or well, $9,000, whatever you want to figure, you can get a V8 put in it, which obviously would be a little bit more power. But again, if you're not going to race it and people aren't going to see what's in it, then it really doesn't matter, in my opinion. Then you have package number 5 here. Wait, this is weird how they have this set up. Whatever. So for another 23, you can get the Corvette LS7 V8. Then for 38, you have the Audi V10. And for the same 38, you can have the BMW V12. So there are other packages that are still much, 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 much more affordable than buying the real car. And again, you really can't, you know, if people see that going down the road, they're going to be amazed regardless. And still, to be able to experience being in a car like that would be simply amazing. You know, you got to figure, if you're never going to be able to afford it, and you have an option where you potentially could, you know, does it really matter to you if it's, you know, the real thing or not? You know, and ultimately all it is just the actual brand isn't going to be, you know, made by Bugatti specifically. It's not going to be imported from France. and it's not going to be the actual motor, but it's still going to look as nice. It's just not going to be the, the real car. Now, there are other cars you can do. So, like, for example, you can, do Lamborghini, and let's do the Veneno. That one's like the hot Lamborghini right now. This car, I don't know the actual price of it, but I'm sure it's up there in the millions. Again, same thing, 20 grand, and you can have this car. Kind of fucking ugly in my opinion. I really think it's fucking stupid. That front end is really freaking weird. I don't mind the back and the side view, but the front is fucking retarded. The inside looks nice, definitely like a spaceship, but it's just, that's how the car looks. So regardless, if you want to get a Veneno, same thing. They have the options, and the prices are pretty much the same thing. It's all based off of what motor you put in it. Let's see. We can go to Ferrari. Let's see what we got here. All right, so let's do this one. So again, bam, there you go. That's a hopping Ferrari that everybody wants and could never afford. And here you go. Same thing. If you're making a video or just doing photography of it or just simply driving down the road, unless somebody that actually knows the car inside and out, you are not going to be able to tell. I mean, look at the steering wheel. That looks like legit carbon fiber on it. It still could be. I don't really know what the material is. But I know, like, the bodies of the car, if the car is supposed to be a carbon fiber body, I know they mix it with carbon and Kevlar. So I don't know if that's the same type of deal that they do on the inside or whatever. But regardless, these cars are insane. So let's do the Rolls Royce. So we'll do the Phantom. That's a popular, everybody knows what it is. Again, same thing. You can't tell by looking at it. Compared to some of the replicas that people make in their garage, this is insane. Good morning. So this is just exactly what I'm talking about. You can do something like this. Here's all the specs. Everything's broken down. So why wouldn't you? Okay. Now let's see. I don't want to pull up everything here because honestly, if you guys can go to the website and check it out yourself, if you're interested, go ahead. But I know on here, all right, so stage payments. Okay. So for the V6 options on these cars, total price is 20 grand. Okay. So you can see right here, what happens is, I mean, obviously you would have to take out a loan and, do something like this. You have to have the cash available. But anyway, what they do is you put your down payment. Then after they create the tube chassis, they will actually record a video, send it to your email, and they will do a walk around. So basically, if you don't agree with how the car is coming out, if there's something you want changed, if there's something that you're not happy with, they will go in and they will fix it and they will change it to your specifications of what you want. This company, you can look them up on YouTube. They do go through all the breakdowns of everything for you, and you can watch how they build the car. So that is one thing that is still cool about this. It may be a replica, but you can get a hold of them, and well, even without getting a hold of them, they get a hold of you and you see how the process of your car is being built. Then you have your deposit again for when they do the brakes and suspension. Once they put the engine in, once they put the transmission in, once they do the body, which is, like I said, the carbon fiber mixed with the Kevlar kit, and then bam, you're paid. It's done. So they then ship it to you. I don't know how much the shipping costs, but I'm sure it costs, quite a bit. You got it. The cars come over from Mexico. That's where their factory is. So the factory is in Mexico. The home office is in Florida, where you contact them. So from Mexico over to here would be quite the drive in a semi, or a trailer, whichever option they do to actually send the car over. So I'm sure shipping is going to be, a couple $1,000, but, again, whatever. It's a lot better than having the car actually imported after paying like, $2.5 million for it, for the Bugatti, essentially. You can even do cars simply like the 67 Shelby. Like, they will replicate this car, which again is insane, because I guarantee you this car is probably out there too. You got to figure all of these cars that they have on here, someone had to have bought. They have the website operating for a reason, and I guarantee you've probably seen this at car shows and you didn't even realize it was a replica, because you wouldn't think people would be able to replicate these things. And you can go over here, this section here, it says amphibious cars. You can go here. They got things like these. I mean, you would never think, I mean, it's crazy. It's insane. I mean, look at that. They got a Corvette that can go in the water. Like, come on now. You would never realize that it's a company like this that actually creates these things. So honestly, it's more than just replicas. Like, they actually have cool creative cars, vehicles in general. Like, you can get freaking yachts. Okay, they don't have any. All right, let's see. All right, like that. Like, bam. Like, they will make that. You can get these fucking things. And I'm sure they're a lot cheaper still than, what a real brand would be. Now, I mean, granted, that's a lot of fucking money. But, I'm sure the actual thing is, a lot more. I don't really know. I don't shop for yachts. I wouldn't ever plan on one. But, clearly there are people out there that had to have, bought them. You can also get the Batmobile done. They can make this. That I think it's insane. This is really, really insane. So again, going into it. All right. So Greg commented that there's one big issue. Okay. So Greg had pointed out, he said that they are not street legal. Actually, they are. These cars, if you go through them, they actually are street legal. They have, when you go in through it and you contact them and you go into more of the stuff with them, here's how this works. You cannot put them on your own insurance. They have insurance that you have to pay for through them. And okay, so he's saying if you read the facts, they're not. So let's see. Okay, so here's what I see right here for this. It says, is there an additional cost to make a replica street legal? It says, if the replica car requires extensive structural engineering and extra car parts, special tires, and extra cost to confirm regulations of the... So yeah, all right, so they can be street legal. Obviously, depending on all right, so again, street legal is simple as, can you pass inspection with them? Can you get through emissions? Can you get an inspection sticker? As long as you can get those, you pass. If I take the Mustang and I take the catalytic converters off. Okay, right now I'm in Carbon County, so it wouldn't matter. Okay, and the car would be legal. However, if I take the car and I go over to Easton, for example, and I'm in Lehigh Valley, then that's when the car is no longer street legal, because I will not pass the emissions. But yes, so Greg pointed out that you need a special inspection on kit cars. Yes. That's why with them, you have to use your own, their own insurance, and you have to go through them for everything, because obviously if you get pulled over or if you go to an inspection station or whatever it may be, you're essentially going to have paperwork saying like you have a Toyota Camry V6, but your car looks like a Bugatti or a Lamborghini, whatever it may be. So yes, there are obviously the process for having it street legal is going to be a little bit more complicated, because you can't just call Geico and have the thing put on. Like, you have to go through special loops through the company, which they set up and they arranged so that way you can have it. So, well, yes, and he said that it must comply with U.S. laws to get a VIN. Yes, that is why going through this company, though, is the actual option to get one of these replicas. Because obviously, you do get people that build these things on the side, and that's where you have more of your issues. Now, I'll also go back when he mentioned, being an additional cost to make it street legal. Okay, yeah. Again, depending on where you're at, like if you buy a car on here and it's not, legal for where you're located, then, yes, you're obviously going to have to pay money to have it legal for your area. I know someone that actually just recently bought a 2015 GT Mustang, and they don't have catalytic converters on the car. And there's a few things because it was set up for drag racing. So they had to turn around and they actually had to put money into it to make it legal so that way it could pass inspection, yada, yada, yada. So yeah, there are loops to jump through. Now, if you're someone that has a trailer and you trailer cars, like, my one friend with the Sully Camaro, that's definitely never at all going to be street legal. Again, it's still not that big of a deal. For me, I'd like to drive it. But if you're someone who can trailer it, it really wouldn't be that bad for you. So let's go back over. So, oh yeah, and here you go, right here. Like, you can look up the videos on everything. I don't understand why they have this. Oh, because I think they also do other things that are replicated as well. But you can go over. They do have a YouTube channel where you can find things. But so that's basically it. That's my idea. I think this would be cool. I can see where some people would be concerned with a few of the behind the scene details of it. But anyway, comment and let me know what you honestly think of the idea of having a car like this. Again, if you don't have the money to be able to, get into a real one, but to be able to still experience, what you could get from, the looks and the feeling of being inside of one, I think it would be totally insane. I definitely think it would be good for show. Obviously, it's like I said before, it's not a race car, but I think it would be a good investment on, just what I figured. But a Camaro is going to come first. Like I was saying, it's probably going to be a 2015 that I go for. That's kind of where I'm swaying right now. One, because I already had the 6th gen, I had the 5th gen, and that's kind of the cross between the two. So I think it would be neat to, do that, because I haven't owned that one yet. And then after that is when we will, talk about what we're going to do as far as, the potential with the Bugatti. So that's it for now, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Maybe this makes a little bit more sense to you. If you want to, go ahead and check out that, website. Check them out on YouTube, whatever you want to do. And I will see you guys next week at 7 a.m. This is the route that we're staying at now. We're staying at 7 a.m. I'm home now. I can do that. I have more time on my hands. So 7 a.m. I'll catch you all next week.